Radio host who interviewed Biden says aides provided questions in advance. Joe Biden's team provided a list of questions to a radio host who interviewed the president this week in the aftermath of his debate performance, the host told CNN. The questions were sent to me for approval. I approved them, Andrea Lawful Sanders, host of The Source in Philadelphia, said during an interview Saturday with CNN's Victor Blackwell on First of All. Lawful Sanders told Blackwell she personally selected questions from the campaign-provided list. I got several questions, 8 of them, and the 4 that were chosen were the ones that I approved, she said. Blackwell pointed out that both Lawful Sanders and Earl Ingram, host of The Earl Ingram Show in Milwaukee who also interviewed the president this week, asked Biden essentially the same questions. A Biden campaign spokesperson on Saturday did not deny that the campaign provided questions but said interviews were not conditioned on the acceptance of provided questions. It's not at all an uncommon practice for interviewees to share topics they would prefer. These questions were relevant to the news of the day. The president was asked about this debate performance as well as what he delivered for Black Americans, spokesperson Lauren Hitt said in a statement. We do not condition interviews on acceptance of these questions, and hosts are always free to ask the questions they think will best inform their listeners. The radio interviews came at a critical moment for Biden's political future. A growing number of elected officials, Democratic donors and supporters expressed deep concerns about his age and capacity to serve a second term as president. Biden on Friday also took questions from pool reporters and sat with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos for a 22-minute interview focused entirely on his age and fitness for office. He will again field questions from reporters during the NATO summit in Washington next week. Biden, who has faced enormous scrutiny this week, made some stumbles during his conversation with Lawful Sanders. I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first Black woman to serve with a Black president, proud to have been involved with the first Black woman on the Supreme Court, he said during the interview, which taped Wednesday and aired Thursday. Reached for comment Thursday night, a Biden campaign spokesperson slammed the absurdity of criticism of the president's missteps. It was clear what President Biden meant when he was talking about his historic record, including a record number of appointments to the federal bench, spokesperson Amber Moussa said. Lawful Sanders' remarks came after a Biden campaign social media account on Monday shared video of a local news anchor in Virginia saying Donald Trump's campaign backed out of an interview after asking for questions in advance. The interview was scheduled to take place around the former president's rally in Chesapeake, Virginia, the day after the debate. We wanted to hear more from Trump tonight. Our Mike Gooding was scheduled to interview the former president after the rally, WEVEC anchor Dan Kennedy said, but just about 15 minutes ago the Trump team canceled on Mike Gooding after asking us what our questions would be for the former president, telling Mike that there was no more time and that the former president only wanted to talk about last night's debate. In a social media post sharing the video, the Biden campaign derided Trump for backing out of the interview, writing, "A paranoid and overwhelmed Trump cancels his TV interview after asking the reporter what questions they planned on asking."